Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it is Friday. Oh, yes, it is. It is Friday. We're talking about the power of persistence. Pardon me. The power of persistence. And every time I hear that word, the phrase goes through my head. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why do you persist? And he says, because I choose to. The power of persistence. We persist so that we can be automatic, so that we can be on, pardon me, autopilot. Uh-huh. Well, let's peel that first layer, shall we? Remember the principle of rhythm, ebb and flow, and rhythm compensates. So how far you go to the left is how far you come back to the right. Rhythm always compensates. Now, rhythm is a habit. Rhythm is a pattern. The way you do things. If you look at the nature of humanity, we, as they always say, allegedly, are creatures of habit. We like to do things. Oh, hallelujah, pardon me. We like to do things the same way every time. We just do. We thrive from that autopilot place. So everything we do, we learn everything. The end result is to be on autopilot. This is the power of persistence. Because when you persist, why? When you persist, you literally set down a neurological pathway because you have persisted. And once you set down that neurological pathway, it is the pathway you will take to do that particular thing every time. Unless, of course, you set down a new pathway to change. Our nature is to do the same thing the same way every time. We're always going to do it that way. But there's a slight hiccup. Not in the law, but with humanity's thinking. That hiccup is that we don't know. We don't know. We keep saying we're creatures of habit, but we think that habit just emerges from some abyss. When in actuality, habit emerges from you, from me. And because we are already persistent by nature. Oh, you down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. That is naughty by nature. But we are persistent by nature. We are always persistent. We cannot not be persistent. You cannot escape persistence. You will either persist in what you deliberately choose, or you will persist in what you unwittingly choose. But either way, we are persistent by nature. Because we are persistent by nature, It means we do things and we do them and we do them and we do them some more, right? But you see, when we, let me say it this way, why are we persistent? We are persistent because we are going towards autopilot. That is the inevitable outcome of persistence. Autopilot. Doing it with your eyes closed. It's like you know it like the back of your hand. That's the outcome of persistence. So, where we get caught up is we think that, because I read it all the time in the manifestation community, we think that manifestation is just to get something, when in actuality, manifestation is the byproduct of existence itself. How so? Manifestation is the evidence of what is contained within. I've told you this many times. The cargo ship, your delivery that you get, you know, you order something and it comes and it has a little packing slip on the inside. That packing slip is a manifest. You can take that out and read it before you get the contents out. Because once you read it, the contents should match. If you ordered 40 pencils and you open it, the manifest should say pencils. What kind? What color? Sharpened or unsharpened? But then it will give you the what now? The quantity. So you should be able to read the manifest and know what is contained within the package. So you see, we manifest every day of our lives. The key is to be deliberate. And right now, humanity is unwittingly doing something else persistently. You get it? Look at what we're doing. So that when we hear, I should change, I don't like what this part of my life is like, I really should change. When we hear that or we say it to ourselves, we will either make an excuse or we will make the steps to change. But you see, we think that the steps we take, I'll give you the scripture for it. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by God. What does that mean? The righteousness is right thinking. You're being deliberate in your thoughts, which means you are deliberate in your mood. And if you are deliberate in the mood, then you know what you will bring about. But humanity is intriguing. I don't know why we don't know it. I cannot begin to speculate as to why we don't know the principles. Right? I can't speculate. But it is irrelevant now. It's irrelevant. What matters is that we are learning the principles and we implement them every single day. You, listen, you only feel like you're implementing them every single day in the beginning to consciously get yourself back to where you want to be. It only feels tedious in the very beginning because you've never done it before. But the goal is to live by way of principle via autopilot. Everything we do is autopilot. Everything we do is on autopilot. because that is what we condition ourselves to do by way of our persistent behavior. You see? So the end result, what we're actually seeking, is to be deliberate in our persistence. We want to be deliberate in our lives, which would mean to be deliberate means when you look at your life and you see what has manifested there, right? When you see what is manifested there and you like it, you'll say, ooh, let me continue on deliberately with this because I like it. I love it. I want some more of it, right? If you do that, now that thing that you practice persistently, deliberately, you will do it on autopilot. Deliberately, you will do it on autopilot. Wait, what? Isn't that an oxymoron like Little Giants? Deliberate and autopilot? Yes. Deliberate means you selected it, like knowingly. You said, I'll take that, please. Deliberate. So deliberately, you choose the behavior that you want to get up and do every day. Choose that behavior. Because when you choose that behavior and you persistently do that behavior, you become the thing that that behavior implies that you are. Think about that. You deliberately, this is because we are already persistent. You don't have to change that. You don't have to fix it. That's your nature, is to persist. So to make persistence work for you with ease is to be deliberate so that the habit that you set down deliberately, you will get up every day and do it and be cool about it. No sense in getting up and not being deliberate. I think that's the thing. Sometimes we are not deliberate sometimes. We are unwitting, meaning you don't know that you're doing it. But you see, according to the first principle, the all is mind. The all. It is aware of itself. It's aware of itself. That's the first place we start. Being deliberate. When you recognize that you are, when you recognize that you exist. Every morning that I sit in rush hour, I say to myself, well, there has to be more to humanity than this. I say that every morning. There has to be more to humanity than this. Right now, I feel like we're drones. So how do you snap out of that drone-like behavior? By becoming deliberate, right? By becoming deliberate. I cannot stress that enough. To be deliberate. It means let's look at life experience now. Because sometimes in life we got problems. How do you handle problems? I'm going through resumes, actually. And some people on their resume say, work well under pressure. Quick learner. Did you just develop that overnight? Or did you persistently do something in order to become a fast learner? In order to look at pressure and not buckle beneath its weight? You had to persistently do something to get that way. This is what I'm saying to you. So if you find that pressure comes along and say, hey, baby, how you doing today? You better roll up your sleeves. I got something fun for you to do. Now, pressure. Ooh. But if you can look pressure in the face and say, you cannot defeat me. You know what? Let me stop. If you can look pressure in the face and be bold and work through it anyway and come out on the other side, you didn't just wake up and know how to do that. You persisted in a particular behavior. And then you saw yourself, you said, whoa, wait a minute. I can handle this situation. For instance, if you say, well, I overthink everything. Do you think you got up this morning and decided to overthink everything? No. You persisted in a behavior that causes you to overthink. What does that even mean, to overthink? It means you're worrying. Oh my. Overthinking means you are worrying. Well, you've got this thought in your mind and you're worrying it. You're going over and over and over and over it in your mind's eye. But what if I do this and that happens? Well, wait, what if I do this and that happens? Yeah, but I can't trust that person. I can't rely on them. But what if I... Overthinking. You are worried. What persistent behavior are you doing? Worrying. And we disguise it as overthinking. No, you are worrying. And because you practice worrying, you see, when we worry, we don't keep it in check. We allow what we worry about to overtake us because we don't recognize that the mood that triggered the worry, fear is the mood that triggers worry. So because we don't catch ourselves and see what we are doing, right? We don't notice when we're fearful, and we don't notice when we're worrying. We don't notice. And because we don't notice, we continually persist in that behavior of worry until what happens? You set down a neurological pathway that every time something comes up, you worry and you panic. So now that's how you live your life, right there on autopilot. It's as simple as that. So the question now becomes, pardon me, what do you want to be persistent in? What do you want to be persistent with? You see, you get to choose that. So when Morpheus says the problem is choice, well, Neo also said the problem is choice. And the Merovingian goes, no, it is causality. They are both correct. The choice that you choose is a cause, and that cause has its own effect. That is what happens when you make a choice. You and I are always persistent. So once you know that you are persistent, what will you choose to be persistent with? This is how you change your life. Because when you start doing that, you now will become deliberately persistent on autopilot. Your inner conversations, the more you practice having whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is honest, whatever is of good report, those kinds of moods, when you deliberately choose those instead of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm totally like freaking out right now. Oh my God. All that is persistently practicing worry and fretting. And then you graduate, which means you set down that neurological pathway and you have a PhD in worry now. You're a pro on autopilot. And you think that that's what your life is. Worry. Oh my God, I worry so much. I'm such a worry wart. Only because you persisted in that behavior. So if you want to change your life, you look at the present behavior you are persistently doing. And then you deliberately say to yourself, well, that's not really working for me anymore. What behavior would I be doing if I change? Oh, what behavior would I be doing? Well, let me see if I can see it in my mind's eye. Well, I would be doing ... whatever that is. I'd be doing that. Yeah, I'd be doing that. Because if I were doing that, man, my life would be peaceful. I wouldn't have a care to fret about in the world. Because I don't even like fretting. That is what my life would be like. And when you make that decision, you now trigger the formation of a new neurological pathway that you will live out if you persist on autopilot. Look at some people's lives and we say, "Ugh, their life just seems to be easy," because they persistently do something that makes it look easy. They have a particular habit. When you say, man, trouble just seems to follow them wherever they go, because they persist in a particular thought. They persist in a particular mood that will always have the exact same outcome. So we persist and we practice so that we can become deliberate on autopilot. You don't just get up and say, well, I'm going to change my life today. No, you get up and you persistently practice what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. But because we are so good at being persistent in the other direction, we lose heart so easily when we don't see the new thing take root right away. So the power of persistence is to stay the course. But you see, there's a little bit of a cheat code. Oh, yes. What is that cheat code? You love what you do. Listen, you ever been in the arms of someone that you truly want to be in the arms of? And you just don't want to get up. You don't want to move from that place. Why? Because you love being there. And if you could be there all day long, you would. But remember, nothing is little bit. You scared me a little bit. uh, remember that nothing is sustained. We ebb and flow. But the ebb and the flow will follow the pattern that you persistently behave in. That's what happens. The ebb and the flow will follow your pattern. Because everything has to ebb and flow, because that is the rhythm. That principle of rhythm tells us that everything ebbs and flows. So we cannot ever sustain the ebb, nor can we sustain the flow. We must move, which is the principle of vibration. Did you fall over? Oh, jeez. A little bit. Come, let's not blow your eardrums out. Come. Ah. Like that, like that. Good feller. That's a good feller. Forgive me, y'all. I had to go set him right. Him and that leg. Oh, my word. You see, that ebb and flow, if you remember that everything moves, and it moves in a particular pattern, a rhythm, right? You now get to persistently choose what thing you will do. Well, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life filled with strife and constantly arguing and blah, 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 blah? Do you want that? Or do you just want something that when you remember, rhythm compensates, right? The ebb and the flow, they compensate. So to the degree that you move to the left, that is the degree you come back to the right. So if you're saying, man, I got these real highs and lows. Oh, if you got these real highs and lows, look at the principle of rhythm and how it is compensating. It is showing you that you are leaning really hard in one direction. So in other words, you got a lot of worry over here, and then you end up with situations where you're constantly worrying. And the type of worry, the degree of worry, has to match the thing that you're worrying about. So if you're panicked all the time, you will find the intensity of your panic shows itself in your exterior experience, because that is the I want to say compensatory nature of rhythm. So whatever level of intensity you have, how passionate you feel about something, is how you will experience it on the outside. So we persistently do something. It is our nature to persist. It is. Because we do the same thing the same way every time. Habit? Yes. So your power, the power of persistence, is in the knowing that what you persist in doing is what you will become. So you don't just want to persist willy-nilly. You want to be deliberate in what you persist in. If you persistently get up and you argue, listen, man, we talk about this all the time. You say, what, did you get up on the wrong side of the bed? Which means you went to bed angry, you wake up angry. Well, as within, so without. The seed planted is the harvest reaped. There's no way around that. As long as you plant, you'll reap. Period. So persistently, what mental attitude are you and I planting on a daily basis? What is that? Because the end result of persistence is automatic, autopilot. So that you don't have to get up and think to be persistent. You just get up and you are persistent. This is the inevitable outcome. That autopilot is always going to be the result. We are designed to be autopilot. It's like when you get in and you practice driving, what are you doing? You're persistently learning how to drive so that you don't have to learn how to drive anymore. You just get up and on autopilot, you drive the car. You learn to tie your shoelaces so that you can get up and just tie them. So the behavior that you persistently engage in inevitably becomes your character. Period. It's no if, ands, or buts about it. That's what it is. But because we don't know that, we think things are happening willy-nilly to us. Things don't happen willy-nilly because things follow principle. So where in your life are you persistently doing the same thing? Where? Listen, and this is what I love about the principles, because the principles are an expression of grace. Oh, how so? Well, when the principles, if you're paying attention, show you your persistent behavior, it's not showing you your persistent behavior to go, dumbass, look at what you're doing. You are so foolish. You have no sense. Look at you suffering all day long. They don't say the principles never browbeat you. They gently say, oh, look, this thing keeps happening to me all the time. I wonder why. Oh, because I persistently do this behavior. And then it calls your name and says, George, do you want to persistently do this behavior? You know how it says that to George? George opens his mouth and says, gosh darn it, why do I keep doing the same thing? Why does this keep happening to me? That's what George says. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You will only say that which is from within. So when the principles say to you, why are you persisting in this behavior? You know it is painful. Why do you keep doing it? We respond with, I don't know. Well, now you know. It is simply a behavior that you started to do as a response to something. Something. There was an impetus, a starting point, a cause that had a very particular effect, which would be your present behavior, the effect. And because you continually do that cause persistently, you keep bringing about the same effect in your life. But here's the beauty of the principles. Here's the grace of the principles. Once you see it, you are now aware of it. And because you have become aware of it, now you can say, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. And then the principles say, well, why? Don, what would you like to do instead? See how gentle the principles are? They simply ask, what would you prefer to do instead? And you say, well, let me see. If I were living my ideal life as the man or the woman that I want to be, hmm, I would be doing, hmm, hmm, wait, I'd be doing this thing. Because you know what? If I do that, that totally proves to me that I made it. Yeah, I'd be doing that. Oh, and then the principals say to you, well, begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. It says, begin to do that. Show me. Paint me a picture in your mind's eye. Show me what a typical day in your new life would be like. That's what it says to you, the principles. And you say it would look like, and you begin to show it what it would look like. What is, let's put that into real life, shall we? You know how sometimes you have someone that you don't really care for? And you keep talking to them in your mind's eye. Man, I can't stand you. You're so dumb. Why you always gotta be in my space all the blah, 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 blah? And you keep having this quote unquote imaginary conversation with that person. And it keeps stirring you up and stirring you up and stirring you up. You're not actually having that conversation in real life with that person, but you are rehearsing that conversation though. Man, if I ever get the opportunity to meet this person, if I ever get the chance to see you, don't let me meet you in the dark alley. Don't let me, don't you dare cross my path. Why? Because I would mess you up. And that's the conversation you're having in your head. If you get up and you persistently have that conversation, you will persistently be arguing with people on the outside. Watch it for yourself and you will see. You are using your power of persistence to do what? Make your life miserable. And the only thing that you're doing is persisting in a behavior. So your power then to apply is to choose what behavior you will persistently do. And in order to select that behavior, you begin to rehearse it in your mind's eye. See, but we keep thinking that we're pretending, yeah? Child, we don't pretend. We do not pretend. Everything we do is for real. Pretend. You know, after, as a young man, after you shaved and you put on your cologne and your deodorant and you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel all handsome and things, what's the first thing you do? Hey, baby, can I have your number? Oh my God. Don't come for me if you're a fellow, okay? If you are a gentleman, don't come for me and tell me that's not how we do it. We all get in that mirror and we rehearse how we will say something. Like the young lady. The young lady who came in at 15 minutes to close last night. And she says, pardon me, but do you have any Riesling? I said, oh, but I do. I said, is there a country of preference you want your Riesling to be from? She goes, well, German. I said, well, they do make it the best. So we go and we get her a Riesling or two. And she says to me, I just, I'm moving into my first house. And this is my celebratory drink to myself. Now, in her cart, she's got Guinness, she's got coolers. I said, she gonna have a party. What do you think she's doing? She is rehearsing how, when she opens the door, what she's gonna say to these people. How do I know? Because look at the beverages in the cart. There will be men present. Why? Guinness. It's not usually a lady's drink. Mind you, I like a Guinness because my father would let me taste the Guinness when I was young. Hush. That's how you roll in the Caribbean. You don't hide things necessarily. But that's what you do. I looked in that cart and I saw the types of beverages. And I knew what kind of conversation she was going to have. Because when she smiled her Hollywood smile, you know which one I'm talking about. Pretty young blonde thing. When she smiled that Hollywood smile, I knew what this party was going to be like. It was going to be popping. It was going to be off the chain. Because here she is feeling absolutely amazing about herself for her accomplishment. So she was rehearsing how she would behave when she opens the door to her party. You see, if we pay attention, we'll always see. Another young man came in. He says, "Hey, do you have that blue wine?" I was like, "Blue wine? Sir, you're going to have to elaborate. What country is it from?" He says, "Well, I don't know." I said, "What does the label look like?" He goes, "I'm not really sure." So I go down the Spanish aisle. He goes, "Oh my God, there it is." I said, "Well, what are you doing with that wine?" He goes, "I'm giving it as a gift." I said, "To a girl?" He says, "Oh, no, I'm going to give it to her father." I said, "And you're going to give him that?" He says to me, "But I don't know. This is my favorite wine." I said, "So you're going to give him your favorite wine?" I said, "What is the occasion?" I said, "Well, wait. If you're giving a man wine," I said, "you're trying to propose to that girl." He says, "Oh my God, I do want to propose to her." And I was like, "Well, then don't come for me if I say it incorrectly. I'm still learning." I said, "Well, let's do the Gewürztraminer, beautiful German white wine." And he says, "You think you'll like it?" I said, "Listen, not too sweet, not too dry. Lovely on a hot day, great with spicy, great with chicken or fish." I said, "When you present this to him, he'll know you've got good taste." That's, listen, I could feel the nerves rolling off this young man. He was so nervous. Why am I telling you this? Because look at how we rehearse. He wanted to get a wine to give to his future father-in-law. And he had a starting point. He said, "I want to give him something that I like. So he'll give me something that he likes." His daughter. Fair exchange is no robbery. And at the end, after he paid, he goes, "Oh, I gotta come back and see you." He goes, "Have you ever considered being a sommelier?" I was like, "What?" I said, "Well, you're the second person to suggest it, sir." But listen, what kind of life do you want to have? Then choose the behavior you want to persist in. That will imply you're living that life. I don't necessarily want to be at work until 10 o'clock at night. Man, I want to be all snuggled up in my bed playing mahjong. But I just enjoy interactions. I just genuinely do. That is my life because I have practiced it persistently. If my grandmother could not find me in whatever store she was in, she knew to go to the cashier. Where was I? Sitting at the till. Doing what? Talking to the cashier. That was me. Always yakety yakking to somebody. So you see, my beautiful friends, your power to persist is natural. It is your talent to persist. We always persist. So the strength in the application of persistence is to choose the behavior or the mentality that you will persist in. That is where one begins. Now, according to YouTube, I've been yakking for 45 minutes. Let me welcome everybody to the spot, yeah? Who's here with us today? Oh, Miss McQueen is in the house. She's sending me grand rising. Oh, hey girl. I see you in these YouTube streets. There are other people on YouTube, but they just have not made themselves known to me. So to that I say, welcome, my anonymous friends. The cloak of anonymity. I see you, though. Symmetric. Hey, girl, I see you in these Twitter streets. Now, Les ago was here as well, but I guess he popped out. Who's with us this morning on Fanbase? We got Flo Smiles. Hey, Flo Smiles. Flo Smiles, did you check the DMs? KZ is in the DMs, so we gotta communicate. We got Ray Ray in the house. We got KZ, my sweet, in the house. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Oh, look. Ricky. Ricky Tan. Ashley is in the house. K squared. K squared is in the house. Well, hello, dearest. Welcome. Oh, Miss Deborah is in the house as well. Miss Deborah is here, and so is it Crescia? Yes, darling. I've said this once. I've said that name once or twice. So welcome back, stranger. Now, what's in the chat? Ricky Tan said you spoke on the decision chosen behavior, and my mind said Yahtzee. I've never played the game of Yahtzee, but eh, maybe one of these days. Yes, you're part of the replay gang. Crusher says she loves it here. Mm, I'm all out of love. I just gave up my last love. Hold on. Um, I gotta refill my loves. But listen, Crusher, darling, I love it here too. Somebody said to me, people just love being in your space, Angela. And I said, you know what? It's like the soft bosom. Oh, yes, it is. I'm not being crass, but think about where you seek comfort or where you sought comfort. I look at I look at Lady and Biscuit. Those are my chickens. And Biscuit takes comfort where? At the mother's breast, where she's under her wing, right? Under the wing, right in the crevice of the breastbone there. That's where she likes to be. When she makes that little peeping noise and her mama raises her wing and she just snuggles under there, you see, that is our natural thing. We like to be comforted. Because from that place of comfort, you are emboldened. Oh, yes, you are. To do what? To change your life. If I keep beating you about the head with a stick, that doesn't foster change. It fosters anger, though. But if I share gently with you and you begin to see it in your own life, like the lady who came back and she goes, Angela, well, they call me Angel because that's my name tag, right? She says to me, remember that wine you suggested? Now, honestly, I remembered, but I did not. I had a vague recollection because I see so many people, right, in the liquor store. And she says to me, oh, she did the chef's kiss. Yeah, she goes, mwah. It was so good. She goes, what else can you recommend me? I said, well, what are you looking for tonight? Like that's I always ask that. What's the mood? And another woman came in and she goes, well, my husband and I, we don't drink. But we're having guests and they do. I said, what are you feeding them? She goes, I'm making a nice a roast. I said, beef? Yeah. And she goes, yes. I said, okay, let's go with the Angus. Oh, Angus? Angus is Australian. A beautiful full-bodied red. Oh, it is robust. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, it is. And it complements very well with the beef. If you don't eat beef, don't come for me. It's all good. To each his own. If you want fish and it's going to be spicy, we'll get you a nice Riesling. It'll go well, right? So, anywho, they're like, oh my God, I just love coming here. Do you know how many times they tell me that? And this one little lady, she's so cute. She's like a little bit taller than me. She comes in and she buys the same six pack all the time. She goes, I come on this night because I know you're working. I was like, really? So It's so sweet. So thank you. I just love being where I'm at in the store. I just enjoy it. I enjoy being here with you on a daily basis. I just genuinely do. Because one of the greatest things is when one person comes back and says, "Oh my God, you will never guess what happened." And I sit there on the edge of my chair and I go, "Oh, tell me what happened." And they say to me, "Angela, I tried it out and you're right." I said, "Well, I'm not trying to be right. The principles are what they are. When you apply them, you don't get a choice but to celebrate." That is what I love. When people apply the principles on a daily basis, even the ones who say to me, "Angela, I have tried and it is not working." Even them. Because then I know what they're doing. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just persisting in the other way. So once you talk them through it, they're like, "Okay, okay, I'll go back to the drawing board." I'm like, "Relax, relax, relax. Just take your time with it." I had such a long line last night, but outside was piping hot, and the air conditioning in the liquor store was, whoo, girl, it was on full blast, and nobody complained in that line. I said, "Listen, y'all, thank you for your patience, but you know what? It's nice and cool in here, so take this time to refresh before you go back out into the heat." And they just giggled. Whether they laugh with me or at me is irrelevant. They released endorphins, thereby doing what? Calming themselves. Oh, hello. Anyway, I love you. And I look forward to seeing you again right here Monday through Friday. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the crack of dawn, depending on where you live in the world. And Lil Bit will be here in all of his glory. Lady and Biscuit, well, they'll be here too. They will be. And if you have a topic you would like discussed because you think you can't figure it out, well, slide into my DMs and let me know. And we'll look at it through the lens of the law, of the principles, mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence as within, so without, as above, so below. Vibration. Everything moves. Nothing stands still. And it moves through a phase of polarity. It starts as a seed, it ends as a fruit. That is polarity. Not opposites, not duality, but just a phase. Of what? Of rhythm. A pattern that unfolds. Remember, rhythm compensates, so the type of thing used is the end result. Why? Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Leading us all the way to gender. Masculine is to generate the idea and say, "I would like to become." Now you've planted the seed, which is masculine. And when you begin to embody that by rehearsing what it is you say you want to become, you've just given it form, shape, which is feminine. You took it from invisible, which was masculine, and you made it visible, which is feminine. Always anything that you can see the form and shape of is feminine. Why? Because it was invisible before, which is masculine. Feminine gives shape to, gives form to. So, that is how we live our lives, whether we know or we do not know. It is how we live our lives through those 7 principles of creation. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. Mm. Sugar Visions. You over here too? Oh. Oh. Only one Sugar Visions, but in 2 places. Oh. Yes, a little bit. I'm coming. I'm coming to assist. Okay? Oh, he makes that little noise. Breaks my heart every time because I don't know what it means. But he's not in pain that I'm aware of. He didn't tell me. But, you know, he'll let me know. Oh, now he's purring. He's communicating with Lady and Biscuit. Anyway, love you. Peace out.